I've been dying to ask you this. So you built a home by watching YouTube videos that taught you how to do it.
We did. Yeah.
I watched that video. I don't know if you posted it or if you posted it.
Yeah.
I watched that and I was like, you are the coolest person. Like, I actually might have made a video on it, basically saying like, this is basically the time we're living in, where it's not information that is the challenge to get anymore. It's just what is good information and apply it. So how is that process?
Yeah, I would say you can learn so much on YouTube. Like everything down to like wiring to plumbing to whatever you need to do. So, but I also did grow up doing construction, so I had a little bit of like the background to know how to do some things, but I would say the foundation was there, but you can get really specific on YouTube.
So like, what was the part, like, were there any parts of building the house where you were like a little bit overwhelmed? Like,
Oh,
I don't
every
know if I
day.
could-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every day.
Well, it's funny because a lot of the videos that I post, he seems really confident and he's like, I have a construction background, but I lived with him in a camper while we built this from the ground up for 3 months. There were days where he had to do electrical in the morning and he's literally Googling what wires go where. And like, he really didn't know. And he figured it out. And we had an inspector, by the way, for anyone that's listening and stays at the Airbnb, we had an inspector for everything. And he passed with flying colors. But he did not know the day before sometimes. And he would wake up the next day, spend 3 hours watching YouTube, stay up till 1 a.m. watching YouTube. Next day, goes in his notes. This is what he learned from this guy. This is what he learned from this guy, and did it and passed inspection.
That is so cool.
It was definitely stressful.
Yeah, I could. For me, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine actually going through something like building a home.
Well, because
For
for
the
us,
first
it was
time.
all our money was going into this. So it's like the weight of like, if this doesn't work, this money's tied up. Like, and if we don't get this rented out, like, what are we going to do?
And you
So
guys
it's-
are newly dating at this time?
We've been together probably, what, a year, maybe
When
8 months
we
at that
started
point?
building, we had been together like 9 months.
9
Yeah.
months. Okay, so maybe not, but did anything cross your mind of like, if we blow this, like this could like blow the relationship, or no, not at all?
I don't know if I was too worried about that. I feel like we've been very,
Okay, good.
we're very secure, I feel like. But it did feel crazy. We're like, we just bought a property together, only being together.
8 months at that
Yeah,
time.
8 months.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I remember this was before I bought a house, so this was probably 2003, 2004, and no, I'm sorry, take that back. This is 2006. This is right before the financial crisis, and what was going to become my father-in-law, right? At this time, it was just my girlfriend's dad, wanted to buy a lake house, right? And so he built out this whole business plan for him and I to buy this together. Right? This is what we're going to buy it for. This is how we're going to use it, right? This is the best use of dollars. And part of me is like, okay, this is cool. But the other part is like, what happens if like, I was thinking actually more in the lines of what happens if Jen and I break up?
Yeah.
Like, I know, own a home with
Wait,
your dad.
did you break up?
No, we didn't.
Oh.
We ended up getting married and it
Oh.
worked out. But I remember thinking, dang, what would that be like?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I thought was like, what happens if it fails, right? I say no. He's super bummed about it. Financial crisis hits. The home drops by like $300,000 and then he buys it by himself. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm part of the reason that like you got such a good deal,
Oh
you
my
know?
God, and he bought it without you.
Yeah, I bought it that way.
God.
We use it all the time, so I can't even be mad at it.
Honestly, when we bought the property, we had also started Men's Crafted together. So
that's
we
right.
had this new business, and then we had a new build while we're living in a camper, while we're like a newer couple, learning how to communicate, learning how to live together. And I feel like we almost had 5 years of marriage within
Absolutely.
7 months, I would say.
Well, because we didn't know which one was going to take off first, so we started 2.
Yeah.
We didn't know which one was going to like really take
Yeah.
off, but they both were required so much.
So
Did
much
you do
attention.
real estate and men's, is it men's craft? or
Men's Crafted.
Men's Crafted.
Did you do them like at the same time or did
Yeah.
one start? Yeah.
We started,
Men's-
we started Men's Crafted just a little bit before, maybe like a few months, and then we're like, hey, this is like we should get a property and build a house, and do
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it kind of just both happened at the same time. But it definitely tested our relationship in a lot of ways. And there was, I mean, I never lost confidence in him as far as the build goes. So I think he really held it together in that sense. Like he never showed me that he didn't actually think that he could do it. It wasn't until, let's say, he passed the inspection, he's like, I actually didn't know if I was going to get that right. And I was like, I probably would have been freaking out. Like, are you sure you should do this? Should we hire an electrician? But he never wavered in his confidence. So that's why I probably never wavered in mine.
If you could go back knowing what you know now, would you still have done both at the same time, or would you have done one and then moved on to the next?
That's really hard because I feel like the other business would probably be a lot more,
Lucrative.
It'd be a lot further down the line. But I love having that house now. It's like our dream little cabin in the woods. So yeah, it's really special.
You would do it again, same way.
I think so.
Okay, I like to explain it like this. When someone has a baby and they're in labor, when you ask them while they're in labor if you would have another child, they probably would either say not for a while, or maybe they would say no. Versus after having the child, you kind of forget what the pain was like during labor. So of course you would do it again. But if you asked me during the pain, like 2 months in, I'm living in a camper. I'm used to living in LA. I'm living in a camper. We had no water for weeks, no hot water. I wasn't showering. Don't even get me started about the septic. If you would ask me then, I would say, hell no, I would never do this again. But now that we have it and it's making money, I'm like, I would do it again.
Yeah.
That's kind of like real estate.
I like that. Did you guys ever run the numbers to find out how much you saved by you doing it yourself?
Oh, yeah. I think we saved around at least 200,000.
Yeah, I would say 200,000.
So what was that? What was total cost for it?
We only spent, with the land included, I believe 100,000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Land, permits,
it was like 90 to 100.
materials, design, 100,000.
How big is the place?
700 square feet. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
But it's like 8. How tall is it?
Well, it's got really high ceilings, so I think it's 13, 14 feet on the front and 8 to 10 on the back. So
Was 700 feet all you were able to build, or did you keep it at 700 because of a cost?
we wanted something manageable. Like, I didn't want to bite off too big, like do a 1,500 square foot house, and then we're still there right now building it. And
he didn't actually know if he could build the house. So he's like, okay, if I can't, let's do it small to begin with.
So all in, 100,000.
100,000. Yep.
Okay, and you're renting it out now as an Airbnb?
Yeah.
Okay, and what does that look like?
It's going really well.
We do not have a free day at all. Like, it's been booked every single day since the day we kind of moved out, which was in June, I think. July is our best month so far, and it's 10,000 in revenue.
$10,000 for the month of July. Mm-hmm. So if this thing
without barely any reviews
stays, well, that's gross, right?
Yes, gross.
Right. So what does net look like on an Airbnb?
I would say minus probably 2,000 for cleaning on
fees.
10. Yeah.
And then do you guys self-manage it?
Yeah, so I have an Airbnb account, so I do all like the communication, everything. So we have a cleaner, and then I kind of just Amazon Prime anything we need, like toilet paper, toothpaste, whatever it may be. So that saves us a lot of costs. We don't have like a manager or anything. We just have our cleaners that are kind of on the ground. And then if I need them to do something, I'll just pay them a little extra for that day.
Got it. Dang, so you guys might be able to recoup your like full investment here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And that was a big scary part in the beginning, was like, is this thing even going to rent out?
Yeah.
Because we just chose a location and we're like, this is a great deal on land. Let's do this.
When we
not really. We're like, yeah, it's close to the beach-ish. Like 30 minutes. Like, let's try it.
Where in Oregon is it?
It's next to Seaside.
Okay.
So it's like 30 minutes outside of Seaside. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's like a very, very small town. Like, there's one market. Like, it's very small. But our idea was, my parents have a tree house that it cost my dad like $40,000 to build, and they make like anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month on it.
What do you mean by tree house?
It's built. It's a house.
So he actually built it around this tree. There's this huge.
So it's a tree through the middle of it.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Dang.
It's impressive.
That's cool.
He's
Beautiful.
a real craftsman.
Yeah, and so me and Kinsey had our investments in West Hollywood, and at the time I started managing my parents' Airbnb just to help them out, and they were almost making the same amount. Our $1.5 million house was almost making the same amount on Airbnb as this $40,000 tree house, and I was like, why am I doing this? Why don't we go build like a unique stay, like a cabin, or like we wanted to do a tree house. It didn't get permitted. So we ended up doing like this really cool cabin. But that was the idea of like unique stays cost a lot less, and you can sometimes get the same price per night as a luxury stay.
If you like this clip,
please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch the entire hour-long interview, the link will be in the description. And make sure you're following the Life with Mikey podcast on Spotify and Apple.